NASCAR is the most popular motorsport series in the United States, but is it the fastest? Is it faster than IndyCar? Well, I've got some interesting stats here regarding both the speed of NASCAR Cup Series cars and those that we see in the premier class of American open wheel racing in IndyCar. And the findings, like I said, are quite interesting to say the least. So just like I did in my F1 versus IndyCar video, it very much depends on which tracks we are talking about here, and we have to find some crossover between the two series. After all, you can say that NASCAR cars are very fast around Daytona, but Indy cars do not race around there. You could say that Indy cars are very quick around the streets of St. Petersburg, but NASCAR doesn't go there. There is thankfully some crossover though, and unsurprisingly, it comes at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the venue where of course IndyCar gets its name from and has its most famous race. But of course, NASCAR has races there as well. We've seen them race on both the actual oval that we see in IndyCar as well as the road course as well. So it's very interesting to compare the timings between IndyCar and NASCAR at both the road course layout and the Indy 500 oval layout too. We'll start with the oval because that is what NASCAR and IndyCar are most known for, of course. So which is faster around a 2.5 mile lap around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway oval layout? Well, quite comfortably, it is IndyCar. IndyCar is far quicker around here. For reference, during qualifying for the 2024 Indy 500, and I'm going to use 2024 just because it's the most recent complete season. As I record this in June, we have had the Indy 500 already, but we haven't had the Brickyard 400, the NASCAR race around this track. So I'm going to go back to 2024 for these stats. But Scott McLaughlin, Scotty Mac, did an average of 234 miles per hour around the famous oval, which equates to a lap time of approximately 38 seconds. By contrast, the pole time in NASCAR was set by Tyler Reddick that year, and we had an average speed from him of 181.9 miles an hour, which means we get a lap time of 49.469 seconds. So it is significantly slower. Around 50 miles per hour on average slower is a NASCAR compared to an IndyCar. Now, something that you might well bring up is the fact that, of course, what about the draft? What about a race situation? It's all right running by yourself doing a pole lap, but surely the NASCARs are actually much quicker when it comes to being in the draft and stuff like that. After all, they are much bigger cars, so effectively you can get much more of a tow around the IMS because of that. And that is true. The difference does come down quite a bit. For example, Christian Lundgaard during the 2024 Indy 500 set a fastest racing lap time, set an average speed of 226 miles per hour. Whereas Hamlin actually set a lap time that was fastest in the NASCAR Cup Series race of just over 183 miles an hour average speed. So it's still significantly less. You're talking about 40 miles per hour on average rather than 50. So that gap does come down, but still, Indy cars are much faster. But what about road courses? What about these? How do NASCAR Cup Series car actually fare compared to Indy cars? Is the difference even more pronounced? Well, not really, no. It's still a significant difference and a significant advantage for the Indy cars, but not quite as big of a gap as you might expect. So the lap record around the Indy road course for an IndyCar driver was set by Joseph Newgarden in 2017. That was a 1 minute, 9 seconds, 0.388. Chase Elliott set the lap time record in NASCAR around the road course in 2023, and that was a 1 minute, 29.168. So around 20 seconds lap time in difference, which is around 33% or so around a lap like this. Just under 30%, I think, actually, going off of the stats there. So NASCARs are significantly slower than Indy cars, both around ovals and also road courses. That is why you don't see IndyCar race around tracks like Daytona, because the speeds they would get up to around the super speedways like that would just be downright dangerous. NASCARs are very quick, though, don't get me wrong. For what is effectively a souped up version of a muscle car, they do some incredible speeds, and they're actually pretty handy around the corners these days too in the current generation of car. Indy cars, though, are much quicker. Not quite as quick as Formula One around road courses, but of course they are faster around ovals. Another video I did a little bit ago does cover that. But yeah, guys, there you go. So NASCAR really quick, IndyCar even quicker. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more like this, and have a fantastic day wherever you're in the world today, guys, and we'll see you very soon for much more content from the world of motorsport just like this.